For more than 20 years, a handful of U.S. Air Force personnel have been haunted by an event that took place in the Rendlesham Forest, just outside their base in Suffolk, England. They maintain that for 2 nights in 1980, they experienced, up close, an encounter with an unidentified craft. Their accounts make the Rendlesham incident one of the most detailed and well-documented to date. These witnesses also say that the government launched an investigation and then tried to cover it up.
It appears to be maybe moving a bit this way. It's coming this way. It is definitely coming this way. This is unreal.
What really happened in the woods outside the Woodbridge-Bentwaters Air Base in December 1980?
If you contact the Pentagon about what happened December 1980 at RAF Woodbridge, England, they're going to tell you right now nothing happened there.
People need to step up to the plate and say something.
It happened, and it was real, and someone else visited Rendlesham Forest in 1980.
Waters and nearby Woodbridge air bases are operated by about 12,000 U.S. Air Force personnel, making it one of the largest NATO complexes in all of Europe. The American airmen who man this base are highly skilled. They're trained to deal with life and death situations with a cool, clear head. And that makes the events at Rendlesham even more mysterious, because what they saw on Christmas night 1980 made these thick-skinned military men shudder with fear. It's 3 a.m. Airman John Burroughs is patrolling the east gate of Woodbridge Air Base, part of his normal routine as a security policeman.
Security did the airfields, weapon storage areas, and stuff like that. You controlled the entry of the base.
The 20-year-old has been with the Air Force for almost 2 years and has been stationed at Bentwaters for about 1.5 years. Tonight, there is nothing to observe but the stars overhead.
It was cold that night. It was a clear night, pretty much. You know, it was a clear night. There's a little bit of fog.
As he's walking, his superior, Bud Stevens, pulls up in a truck.
He tracked me down and said, let's ride around for a while.
The men drive into Rendlesham Forest. Suddenly, Sergeant Stevens notices a strange light in the woods just off the road.
He said, whoa, is that normal? And I looked out and there was just a weird glow in the woods. I said, no, it's not normal.
Burroughs can't shake a bad feeling.
You know, you just felt a real sense of danger or something wasn't right. There were different colored lights, you know, like you see on a Christmas display, different colored lights that were blinking on and off.
Alarmed, the men speed back to the gate to call the flight desk from a secure phone line. They do not want to broadcast the information over their radios. At Burroughs' insistence, the call is transferred to the base's Central Security Control, or CSC. The shift commander dispatches 26-year-old Sergeant Jim Peniston to the site. Peniston has been a security policeman with the Air Force for 7 years.
They told me I need to go out the east gate. We have a situation out there. I said, what type of situation? He said, well, I'd rather have the on-scene patrolman tell you what that is. I says, well, can I wait? No, you gotta get out immediately.
Within minutes, Peniston and his driver arrive at the east gate. Burroughs and Stevens direct his attention to the woods.
I seen this multicolor, yellow and red. It was about, 200-300 meters away. And it looked like an aircraft crash immediately. That's the color that you get from titanium and fuel burning.
Peniston calls back to CSC and gets clearance to investigate a possible downed aircraft.
If it is an aircraft crash, we can go ahead and, render assistance and set up security for it.
As part of standard procedure, Sergeant Peniston tries to gather information from Bud Stevens.
And I said, well, do you hear it crash, Bud? He said, no, it didn't crash. It landed.
Stevens is too frightened to help with the investigation. He returns to his post, while Burroughs and Peniston proceed without him. Soon after, they speed off with a driver and head toward the mysterious light. When they can no longer maneuver the vehicle around the dense trees, Burroughs and Peniston proceed on foot. They walk about 50 meters and notice strong interference on their radios.
The farther we got into the woods, it became more and more intermediate, where it was harder and harder to talk to him.
Suddenly, Sergeant Peniston feels an electrical charge in the air.
I've been in excitable situations before on duty, and I know the adrenaline feeling, but this here was different. You could feel it on your clothes, your face, your hair.
The closer they move toward the light, the less the scene resembles a crash.
Didn't have no smell of smoke, and it was too contained. It was just like one ball out there.
And we came into a clearing, and then that's when it was like a bright light lit up the whole area. It was almost blinding.
Sergeant Peniston moves within 10 feet of the object, and the bright light dims. As his eyes adjust, he has trouble understanding what he's seeing.
I'm a rational person. I wanted a rational explanation of what was going on. I could not come up with one.
Peniston snaps pictures with his military-issued camera.
The craft was triangular in shape and measured probably 9 feet wide by about 8 feet high. I couldn't tell the front or back to it. I mean, there was no engines on one side or no cockpit or nothing like that. It was all completely smooth, the outside of the craft.
He then circles the object, writing descriptions in a notepad. These are the notes he wrote that night.
Surface is unknown. Identity unknown. No apparent landing gear present. No sound, but appears to be operating somehow.